The crimson sand of Kepler 442b crunched beneath Alex's boots as he stalked through the ruins of what had once been humanity's newest colony. His plasma rifle hummed with deadly energy, its targeting system scanning the twisted wreckage of prefab structures and melted landing pods. 3 months ago, this place had been home to 800 souls. Now only silence and the acrid smell of burned metal remained. Zainab pressed herself against the crumbling wall of a storage facility, her heart hammering against her ribs. The alien weapon in her four-fingered hands felt foreign and clumsy, nothing like the elegant energy constructs her people usually wielded. But desperation made even the most peaceful beings dangerous. She had watched from orbit as her fleet obliterated the human settlement. The Zephyrian High Command had deemed humanity too aggressive, too unpredictable to be allowed expansion into this sector. But Zainab had seen something else in the transmission logs. Families, children, people just trying to build a life among the stars. When her escape pod had malfunctioned during the retreat, stranding her on this desolate world, she'd almost welcomed it as cosmic justice. The sound of approaching footsteps made her grip the weapon tighter. Through a gap in the metal sheeting, she could see him. Tall, broad-shouldered, with the distinctive blue and silver uniform of a Human Defense Corps survivor. His face was grim beneath a layer of dust and determination, and the weapon he carried had already claimed the lives of 2 of her crashed squad mates. Alex rounded the corner with practiced military precision, his rifle trained on the space where heat sensors indicated a life form. What he found made him pause. The alien before him was nothing like the monstrous descriptions from the briefings. She stood perhaps 5.5 feet tall, with pale blue skin that seemed to shimmer in the dying light of Kepler 442b's twin suns. Her large, dark eyes held an intelligence that was unmistakably sentient, and despite the weapon in her hands, she trembled like a leaf in a windstorm. "Drop it," Alex commanded, his voice rough from 3 days of breathing recycled air through his emergency suit's filters. The alien's weapon clattered to the ground, and she raised her hands in what Alex recognized as a universal gesture of surrender. When she spoke, her voice was melodic, despite the fear that made it shake. "Don't shoot me, human," she whispered, the translator implant in Alex's ear converting her musical tones into heavily accented English. "Let me live and I'll give you a family." Alex's finger tightened on the trigger. This creature's people had murdered everyone he'd sworn to protect. Captain Morrison, who'd taught him chess during the long voyage from Earth. Dr. Patel, who'd delivered 3 babies since planetfall and never stopped smiling. Little Emma Chen, who'd given him a drawing of Earth's moon just days before the attack. "Your people already took my family," he growled, "every last one of them." Tears, actual tears, began streaming down Zainab's face. "I know," she said, her voice breaking. "I watched it happen. I tried to stop them, but—" She gestured helplessly at her slender frame. "I am what you would call a xenobiologist. I study life, I don't take it. But my people, they feared you. Your expansion, your weapons, your—" She searched for the word. "Your resilience." Alex kept the rifle trained on her, but something in her tone gave him pause. "What do you mean you'll give me a family?" Zainab reached slowly into a pouch at her waist, moving carefully to avoid startling him. She withdrew a small crystalline device that pulsed with soft blue light. "This is a stasis pod. Inside are genetic samples from your colony. I collected them before the bombardment, hoping that someday, somehow, they could be restored." Alex stared at the device, his breath catching in his throat. "That's impossible." "Not impossible. Difficult, yes. It would require my people's bioreconstruction, technology, our knowledge of genetic matrices. But it could be done." She took a tentative step forward. "I have spent 3 days studying your colony's remains, learning about your people from their belongings, their records. They were good people, weren't they? They deserved better than what my fleet gave them." The rifle in Alex's hands felt impossibly heavy. "Why?" he asked. "Why would you help me?" Zainab smiled sadly. "Because I have seen what humans truly are. Not the monsters my government painted you as, but explorers, dreamers, Parents who sing lullabies and scientists who name newly discovered flowers after their children. She gestured toward the ruins around them. I found Dr. Chen's research logs. She was cataloging the native plant life not to exploit it, but to understand how to live alongside it without causing harm. She extended the stasis pod toward him. I cannot bring back the dead, human, but I can give you the chance to honor them, to rebuild, to ensure that their genetic legacy, their children's children, might someday walk beneath these twin suns again. Alex's hand shook as he slowly reached for the device. The moment his fingers touched its surface, it warmed, and he could see tiny lights dancing within, each one a potential life, a possible future. Your people will come looking for you, he said finally. Yes, Zainab nodded. And when they do, they will find a human and a Zephyrian working together. They will see that coexistence is possible. Perhaps that message is worth more than either of our lives. As the twin suns set on Kepler 442b, Alex lowered his weapon. In the distance, both of their distress beacons continued their steady pulse calling to the stars. But for the first time in days, neither of them felt alone. The colony was gone, but hope, fragile and precious as the lights dancing in the crystal, remained alive in the crimson sand.